And welcome back to Bros in a Landfill. Lunch and I are on vacation to Delfino Plaza. We're just about to land, and oh my gosh, there's a fucking mess. So, also, Mario looks horny.
Mario, I hadn't really thought about Mario experiencing that emotion before, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I've seen too much Rule 34 to be proud of myself. Horny Mario is not something I want to think about on a normal basis, but you know, we got some icky goo-like substance, multicolored. Get your mind out of the gutter. Yeah.
We just started this episode. I'm so not ready for any of this.
Yeah, I know. So Lunch can't hear right now, but there is voice acting going on. It's like the only like Mario game with like proper voice acting like for each line.
It's bizarre.
So,
There's something I really like about the GameCube era, because the Nintendo games have like started to refine themselves to look more like what we see today, but they're not all the way there yet, and there's still a little bit of early weirdness. Like, you know, there's voice acting here, which is an experiment they never went back to. Toadsworth is a thing. Mario rolls his sleeves up, and they were just willing to do that. I feel like they would never roll Mario's sleeves up these days.
Well, I'm guessing the reason why they're doing it is it's just so hot here in this blazing sun. I mean, you can see just like the heat lines. Yeah. I'm assuming that's heat lines and not just texture issues on this like a screen tearing or whatever.
Well, I mean, I just think like, yeah, it makes heaps of sense to roll sleeves up given the weather, but like, it still seems bold to me. Like, there have been interviews recently regarding Paper Mario where they talk about how in the new games they're not allowed to alter the characters too much, you know, and have a named Goomba or whatever, which is hilarious because like the old Goombas.
Look at the bottom. Look at the bottom left-hand screen. They're showing. Oh man, you missed it.
Oh.
They were showing off bits from old Mario and 64.
Oh, that's meta.
Yeah, it's freaking. Also, what's also weird is this is this flood is made by Professor E.G.A.D, who makes the Poltergust and the Luigi games.
Oh, this thing's made by E.G.A.D. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's an E.G.A.D machine. It's got his mark on it.
See, I like it when I like this weird continuity shit. That's cool.
Yeah.
What was I saying about Yeah, in Paper Mario, they're like, we're not allowed to have like original Goomba friends anymore, or whatever. So like, you know, play too much with the sandbox, which is funny because like. The Goomba companion in the first one was like a Goomba with like a hat on, and like apparently that's like too much of a creative leap. I don't know. I just think that I think Nintendo has on one hand it's really cool that their characters are so polished and at this point in time and that they look so perfect, but I just also think they were much looser with their IPs like back in the day.
So. What's going to be really weird for me playing this is, I was explaining to Lunch earlier that Super Mario was like the first, Super Mario Sunshine was like the first game I ever owned as a kid. Like when I was, good old kindergarten times, when we got our GameCube, I think for Christmas or something.
Sure.
This was the game we got with it, and I have a lot of fond memories. This is probably the Mario game I've played the most. But what's really weird is what made Super Mario Sunshine really interesting as a game is that GameCube controllers had pressure sensitivity on the triggers that weren't all the shoulder buttons, and that wasn't used for all games, but it was used for this. And you could control how much water was being sprayed out based off how hard you were pressing. So there was like real tech in terms of how much water? I mean, I guess tech based off like how hard you're hitting down the
like the
R
pressure
button.
would be based on the finger pressure.
Yeah,
really.
But I'm actually having a really tough time getting used to this without the pressure sensitivity.
It's weird that like this game came out like 18 years ago or something, and this isn't the definitive version of it because there's no analog triggers. It's weird that the Switch doesn't have analog triggers. I would have thought that was a pretty sort of ubiquitous feature in 2020.
Fuck, that's not what I want. I'm actually having a really hard time getting used. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's two separate Okay, that's stupid. So they've separated the spray button and the spray and run. So in the original game, you could just spray and run, or you could hold down another button while you're spraying or whatever.
Right.
But now it's two completely separate buttons. I'm gonna have to get used to that.
It's weird. It seems very not Nintendo to because it seems like what they normally try and do is make things elegant and I don't know, not convoluted like that. That seems really not the tasty gem.
Well, I don't think back when they were making this game that they anticipated because it was that was the pressure sensitivity was really used for. Is like you could, if you held it down a little bit, you could run around and spray, and if you held it down all the way, you could just spray entirely, like we'll stop and spray. So I am assuming they didn't think that pressure sensitivity would be a dead feature 20 years later.
Yeah, well, it isn't for the other fucking game systems, is it? Or wait,
I don't.
Is it just Xbox that has it at the moment? Because now that I think about it, I think the PlayStation triggers might be the same.
Yeah, I think the PlayStation triggers. I know the PlayStation 3 doesn't. The PS4 might have it, but I kind of.
Both of the most recent Xboxes definitely have the analog triggers.
But I understand why the Switch doesn't, because I can't see them implementing that on the on mobile controllers. And if you're not going to put that on the mobile controllers, why do it on the
yeah, I guess,
Pro controllers?
I guess you want them to be the same all over the place, but
yeah,
it's just kind of a shame, I guess.
Yeah, well, it definitely makes it harder to play. Anyways,
Yeah,
we got plot going on that we've been talking over, which is pretty funny. So we have to go around, we have to clean up the island, we gotta find shine sprites. Yeah, it's typical Mario stuff. Definitely the weirdest Mario game, I would say, that I've played.
I think the voice acting alone is enough for that.
I mean, look at that drawing right there. That just tells you exactly what you're getting into.
Scary.
But yeah, and we got like a full-on court session. Like if I am convinced that this is the game that got me into Ace Attorney and like why I was interested in court stuff.
You wish you could have said something for Mario.
Well, it's like as a 5 or 6 year old watching like a beloved character. I mean, it wasn't beloved to me at the time, but like he's got like that charm. Watching like a character that's like that you're playing as get falsely accused for something he didn't do. It's
plants
like
a seed of injustice in your heart.
Yeah.
You're in a cell.
Yeah, I know.
I think I mean, when does Mario have like a cool setting like this as well? Like
I know.
I mean, okay, Galaxy, sure, they did a good job there. But
well, I would say
generally Mario is just in a place that looks very Mario-esque, and then I think this island is one of the more interesting places to put him while still keeping it Mario-y.
But I would also say what makes this different than Galaxy is Galaxy, it all being in space, kind of just gives them the freedom to do whatever. Where here they have the constraint of these places all being within island resorts. So yet they had to make all these different resort themed areas to go into.
Yeah.
So it's like I think where the real charm lies is the fact that they were limited in design scope, and because of that you get some really you get to see some things you wouldn't normally see in Mario as they give answers to, well, what if Mario only had X amount of places to go to, types of places to go to.
Yeah, well, Mario is not usually constrained by reality, which means there isn't usually much of a sense of place to the areas he inhabits. So
absolutely.
I appreciate detail like that.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's necessarily objectively better than the other way, but it's certainly refreshing to see in Mario.
Yeah, well, given that this is the same, this came out around the same time as Luigi's Mansion, it's actually not too surprising that I think that this is what we got, because I get the feeling that Nintendo and Mario were focused more on creating kind of set piece, not really set piece, but really focusing on a location in an area. So with or setting. So when you think of something like Luigi's Mansion, it's literally about the mansion. The mansion is the game.
Yeah.
And then here in Sunshine, the island is all the design decisions are built around this island.
Sure.
So I feel like the real focus and theme of that period of time was this focusing on a setting and maximizing it.
Well, I think this game treats the kind of general Mario universe as that kind of... like, I guess that focus on continuity is there in a broader sense as well, just because... I don't know, the fact that E.G.A.D is like at least a background character in both of these games is really interesting to me. Like, there's a greater Mario world that's being sort of implied here.
Oh, absolutely.
That they didn't really, I would say they didn't really come back to, which is fine. It makes sense for Mario to be a pretty disconnected series. But I felt the same about Sonic around this era too. I thought it was cool how like they were like, it was more overt there, but they were more like, they kind of treated it like a one big world that they were slowly building before eventually just saying fuck it and sort of going off the rails.
Oh, you actually bring a good point, because Sonic really started off with with Sonic Adventure 1 with that sort of, you got like kind of this like interconnected hub world.
Yeah.
That like where it was a bit more, where technically Mario 64 did have a hub world. All the areas inside it were just portraits. It wasn't very interconnected. It was just, oh, you have a hub world to go into different places.
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure took it to the next step of, oh, these are all locations around this similar area. Then Sonic Adventure 2 is like, oh, you're going around the country in the US, but it's all like themed around this same idea.
Yeah, no, I think there was a good sense of world building in the first, and like the early 3D era, I suppose. Like even like you had Sonic Battle that like had lots of that continued plot threads and characters from Adventure as well. Like I don't know, things felt pretty interconnected at that time, and yeah. I wonder if this was a little bit like Nintendo wanting to try out the interconnected stuff because they didn't really have it in 64.
Oh, I would definitely, given the popularity of Sonic,
I would imagine.
Well, Sonic 06.
Sonic Adventure.
So given the popularity of Sonic Adventure, I would definitely say that there's a good likelihood that like Nintendo saw how successful that was and wanted to.
I have two
on.
kind of responses to that. One is that I think it's way more likely that they are inspired by Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Because I think that was like the thing that one of the things people really loved about it, that it was that had this connected world, and that was like what was in the marketing and stuff, and it was like internal. But second thing, is that
I would say
they have definitely been inspired by Sonic Adventure in some ways. Like, I feel like if New Donk City isn't a Sonic Adventure like fucking inspiration, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. I would say yes and no, because on one hand, the Zelda games are adventure games. So this is gonna get annoying. Because the Sonic games, well, not the Sonic games, because the Zelda games are adventure games, like it'd be weird for it to not have a interconnected sort of world. I mean, for Pete's sake, the SNES games already kind of did that, but in 2D. It was a logical jump to create that sort of situation.
But like I feel like the interconnected thing is something that makes more sense in 3D compared to 2D, just because of how many directions you can go. Like, I mean, they might have just seen it as like, well, if Mario's gonna be in 3D, this is maybe how it should work. But I mean, who knows? Who knows what the thought process was?
Well, I'm just thinking, like, because it's not just the interconnected, it's also like kind of setting up this like world and lore.
Sure, that was
these games.
Yeah.
And that's really what the Sonic Adventure games really did. Is like Sonic kind of had a lore and stuff with its previous games, but not so much. But Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, like, really stepped up the bar in that term.
Yeah, well, they were like, here's where Tails' lab is, and here's the train that you catch in the city that Sonic lives in. Like, it's I mean, it's kind of humble these days, but like, you can see what they were going for.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it's simple like, oh, Nintendo cribbed on it. It's like, I think Nintendo saw a market opportunity there. They said like, oh, this is like successful in the market, so let's do our own thing with this.
I think, whoa, what was I trying to say? Oh, I just want to mention that apparently, I'm pretty sure I read that like early on in development, Ocarina of Time had a Mario 64 style castle where you like, the hub world was just like a level select like in Mario. Like, I feel like, and I think there are ideas that were meant for like one game that ended up going in the other, like because they were being developed like sort of simultaneously, not by the same team, but like I don't know, like I feel like those teams did take a lot of inspiration from each other. Yeah, I'm getting a bit caught up on something. I don't think it's impossible that Sonic Adventure also had like some influence, but like I guess I'd like to look up what were the big games that came out around that time and like what are all the possible inspirations. But like I also think Nintendo does take Sonic inspiration sometimes. Like the rolling in Mario Odyssey is very Sonic-y. The way like you curl into a ball and you gain momentum down slopes, and that's about it. Like that's the most Sonic fucking roll ability ever.
Can I just quickly just jump topic and be like, sure. I just realized actually, like playing this again, it makes me that this is a limited release.
It's bullshit. Like, plain and simple.
Yeah, well, especially like not even just because like scummy market reasons, it's like you have to buy it now, you'll never get it on sale. But also, I just think of all the kids who won't be able to play this in the future. You know, not everybody has a GameCube, and like if this is only even digitally related, like available for like till next year, like Sunshine's like was a big part of my childhood, and I definitely think this is a game kids would love to play.
Yeah.
But to imagine that like there's only a set generation of kids right now that are gonna be able to play this.
Well, you'd like 3D Mario games or just Mario games in general. They should be timeless. You know, you should be at least like the most important ones. You should always be able to play on some system or another. The fact that they already have it running on Switch, but they're keeping it in a locked box is like bullshit.
Yeah. Now we can continue that point later. We just started the game. We'll take down PD Piranha in the next episode of Bros in a Landfill. If you like the video, go down, leave a comment, like, subscribe, do the hullabaloo, check out our other videos, our Super Mario guide, Super Monkey Ball guide, and I highly recommend watching Tar, I, and Lunch suffer through that. And share it around if you like this. Show us some support. We want to grow. We want to be your best friends on YouTube. But like one-sided relationship, you know how it works. This has been Bros in a Landfill. Thanks for watching.
Bye.